Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a look at Proposition 319, which would prohibit the use of photo enforcement systems for traffic violations. Also tonight, the impact of President Trump's decision to scale down military exercises with South Korea. And we'll hear about a new book with the encouraging title, Longevity Made Simple. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Proposition 319 is among the ballot measures to be decided on by voters in November. Prop 319 prohibits state agencies and local governments from using photo enforcement systems to identify violators of traffic laws. Speaking against the proposition, joining us tonight is Will Humble, Executive Director of the Arizona Public Health Association. Now, we should note that we invited State Senator Wendy Rogers, the main backer of the proposition, to speak in favor of the measure, but she couldn't appear on this date and declined further attempts. Well, we're good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us here. What exactly does Prop 319 call for?
So what it does is essentially prohibit any future jurisdiction, city, town, from doing any kind of photo enforcement, whether that's red light cameras, the intersection cameras, or regular speed cameras, if they don't have a contract already to do that enforcement. So, for example, Phoenix and those cities that do have photo enforcement let's say they still want to do it, if this passes, they'd have to go to the ballot and have the voters approve that after 2 years and then every 10 years after that. So it essentially locks out cities that don't already have photo enforcement. Tucson's a good example. Tucson does not have photo enforcement now. If this passes, they could never, ever do it. Ever.
Right. So in other words, existing systems would need voter okay to remain. New systems verboten.
I should have said that.
Right. Well, let's see what else you have to say about this. This is a controversial issue, and I know that the proponents, they say it's a controversial issue and thus should be decided by voters. Are they wrong?
I agree with that. I'm totally fine with the direct democracy part of the proposition, that if you're going to do something like this in your town, why not ask the voters in that town if that's what they really want to do? I'm fine with that. What I really don't like is the fact that cities that don't currently have it could never do it. So take a town now that's really small, doesn't need any photo enforcement of anything. 15 years from now, it might be a really busy, they might have some really dangerous intersections. City council, the traffic, the law enforcement, they're all on the same page that they need a red light camera at a certain intersection. They will not be able to do it if this passes.
Okay, so your idea is that citizens should have.
I'm fine with that.
Because that's one of the main arguments.
I'm good with
the
that.
Other side.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the idea of due process. That's another argument here, that law enforcement officers should have discretion and there should be someone witnessing this, a human being, as opposed to a camera and an algorithm. Does that make sense?
I think that does there's some checks and balances within the jurisdictions that have the system now. I think some of those could be more robust. There could be some better guardrails around, where these cameras go and the decisions that are made and the due process parts of what you're describing.
But the idea that it should only be made by law enforcement officers, why is that a bad idea?
Well, law enforcement is reviewing these.
But I mean, at the moment, at the time.
At the moment, yeah. Well, certain jurisdictions did do it that way if that's what they want to do.
Okay.
I mean, and the voters in that city could decide that's the way we're going to do it.
You're speaking a very, very well pro 319
well,
argument.
Look, that's why I said it's like I'm not 100% against this thing. What I really object to is that it prevents cities that don't have it now from ever doing it ever in the future. And this would be voter protected. So the legislature could never undo it.
One of the reasons that this is on the ballot and one of the reasons people don't like this kind of thing is because they think it prioritizes fines over fairness. Do they have a point there?
In some jurisdictions, they do have a point. So here, I'm doing pro and con.
Yeah, I feel like we've got debate on both sides.
Let's take Paradise Valley, for example. Like, they've got some roads in Paradise Valley. McDonald is a good example. It's got a really low speed limit, like 25 miles an hour. And there's there's a speed camera every 300 meters. I mean, it's over enforced. And so there are jurisdictions like Paradise Valley that I think are overdoing this. And it's a drive-through kind of town.
Yeah.
A lot of people use Tatum and those things.
Yeah.
People and you drive down Tatum, there's 5 of them.
They're all dressed like cactuses, aren't they?
Well, no, they're not. That's something else.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about the safety aspects.
Good.
All right. The idea that red light cameras, people knowing they're, especially for intersections and such, they'll slam on their brakes. It causes crashes, rear end collisions in particular.
They have a point. So you did your homework.
Thanks.
So here's the thing. I'm an evangelist for the red light running intersection
That's
cameras.
the one you want to see. That's the
one I want to keep.
Important.
That's
Okay.
the public health value.
Okay.
The speed cameras and the speed traps that are set up, there's very little public health value for that, except in school areas. It's the red light cameras that save lives. And here's how they do it. The red light cameras, so this is a national study of 7 different cities with a couple of hundred intersections. They looked at that and they found that when you have a red light intersection camera, it cuts down on those really violent, explosive T-bone crashes that kill people by 25%. So that's a big decrease in really dangerous collisions. Those ones where someone's turning left and you plow into them, or you got the green and someone runs a red light into you. So it reduces those things by 25%. But it also increases in that study, it increased the slow rear-ending crashes by 15%.
Interesting, because
But those are injury-free crashes for the most part.
But I would think that and the argument is that it increases erratic driving. When you're so busy whirling and looking around, where's the camera? What's this? What's that? You're not getting consistent driving here.
Well, all I can tell you is when they did the study, and it was a robust study with lots of cities,
Yes.
it showed a big reduction of violent, dangerous crashes, those T-bones in those intersections, and saved a lot of lives.
And what you're saying is you put this on the ballot and it passes. That's a done deal, and that's a done deal forever.
Forever.
Yes.
So a city like Tucson or Glendale that doesn't do photo enforcement now would never ever be able to do it, no matter how dangerous their intersections get.
All right, one last chance here to support your side as opposed to the pro side. Senator Rogers calls Photo Radar a scam. Her quote is, "It's not a safety program, but a business built on fines."
In some jurisdictions, that's true. But look at what it can do at these intersections. And by the way, I wouldn't even be debating this, and I wouldn't be arguing against 319 if this had just gone after Photo Radar with the speed cameras.
Yeah.
It's the intersection cameras that I care about.
Okay, all right, and I think we had a chance to have a link here on the screen to go. If you want to read the full proposition, there it is right there, the full proposition. We got all of them up there. Go ahead and take a look at that, and you'll see arguments for and against. My goodness gracious, I hate to
I
see
gave
someone who's
arguments for and against today.
Yeah, a lot. All right. Will Humble, again, Prop 319, Photo Radar, traffic enforcement. Good to have you here.
I don't need someone to debate with. I can debate with
you
myself.
do it yourself, yeah.
How much money are we talking about?
A lot.
Nothing succeeds like excess.
I would do anything for this family. It's the stuff of dreams.
I'll make him sorry.
Where are they?
Everyone said we couldn't lose.
Not on our side.
I'm warning you.
Sunday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
On a passé l'appartement en peine fin, aucune empreinte, pas même celle de la victime.
Voilà,
Astrid, vous êtes géniale.
Tetsuo. Il y a un faisceau d'indices concordants qui semble indiquer que je vous...
Il y a un taré dans la nature. On est les personnages de son histoire.
Je suis une partie de lui.
Sunday night at 11 on Arizona PBS.
I really do enjoy volunteering. I like to think that I have made a difference. That's enough. I don't need to be patted on the back. I've included my PBS station in my future plans. It's not a big gift, but something that will help them.
For more information about including Arizona PBS in your future plans, visit azpbs.org/giving.
Every little bit helps. If we can do a whole lot of little bits, then we've done a great service.
President Trump says that the U.S. will be scaling back joint military exercises with longtime ally South Korea. The president's stated reasoning is that the exercises send, quote, inappropriate and hostile signals to the leader of North Korea, with whom the president claims to have a, quote, very good relationship. Another reason, South Korea has not joined us, the U.S., I should say, in the war against Iran. For more on all this, we welcome Daniel Rothenberg. He's the co-director of the Future Security Initiative. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
All right, so reducing military drills with South Korea. I found this a surprise. Did you find this a surprise?
More importantly, South Koreans found this as a surprise.
Yeah, and so talk to us. Why is this happening?
Well, we don't always know why the president makes the claims that the president makes, but we have 28,500 military personnel stationed full-time in South Korea. That's been going on for a long time, really since the armistice that didn't end the Korean War, but put a pause on that. I think one thing that's interesting here is, President Trump reasonably asks the question of why should the U.S. provide so much support to allies like South Korea?
Why should we? I mean, it's been kind of, it seems relatively clear. You got that part of the world there where if China is a major menace to a bunch of places, or at least wants to be, other places consider China, from Taiwan to Japan and South Korea. I mean, should we not have a presence there?
Right. So I think what's positive about all this is it maybe focuses a little attention on the reasons. But if we look at the history, one of the most extraordinary stories in the post-Second World War, post-Korean War era has been the growth of South Korea from a country that had, a per capita income of under $100 a year to 37,000 now, a country that's a booming success story, and a country that it's maybe hard for us to imagine. Seoul is 25 to 35 miles from the North Korean border. We're in downtown Phoenix. That's like Cave Creek or Fountain Hills. And you have half the population living in the metropolitan area. So you have a country that has blossomed and boomed in the shadow of a constant looming threat.
And the president seems to think that it's not fair that we're putting all those resources there while they succeed?
It's an interesting question. So you could view it as an investment in both regional security and our own national security, in global security, or you could view it as some kind of a bad deal. We could put this in context. It's something like $5 billion a year when you count, that's the U.S. support for this military presence. That's maybe 3 to 4 days of the current Iran war in cost. It's a lot of money. Does it get us something useful? I think it's a good question to ask. I think, for years, the U.S. has said resoundingly yes.
Yeah. The impact on these military exercises on things like coordination. If China starts saber-rattling more with Taiwan and other areas in that part of the world, do we lose some coordination by not having these drills up to speed?
The answer has to be yes. The reason these coordinated exercises happen is to improve the ability of the U.S. military and the South Korean military to work together. It's been going on for years and years. I don't know that it's right that a single skipped exercise or adjusted exercise is going to radically change the capacity of the U.S. and its ally, South Korea, to act. But it stands for something, and I think it's also a sign of a sort of dangerous move in the region. Like, why do we want to cozy up to North Korea? And why do we want to give this away when in return, let's say, we're really getting nothing from the North Koreans?
Well, and again, as you mentioned, what kind of message does this send, not only to that part of the world, but all of our allies everywhere?
Clearly a confusing message, right? It's not clear exactly what the substance of this is in the long term. It's not clear if it's a passing phase. We all remember, or perhaps not, the way in which in the first Trump administration, lots of efforts were made to cozy up to Kim Jong-un and to try to maybe achieve a meaningful breakthrough in what had really been unsuccessful efforts to limit, nuclear proliferation in North Korea. But what really happened is since 2017, we've seen a radical, substantial increase in North Korea's nuclear capabilities by almost every measure. And it's hard to know how this is going to reverse that.
I was going to say, the idea of improving diplomacy with North Korea, okay, we all understand that would make for a better world, but it doesn't seem to be doing that, A. B, I mean, they're firing ballistic missile firings here just recently and these sorts of things. And North Korea basically just shrugged off everything the president said. They didn't want anything to do with this. Who thinks this is a good idea?
Yeah, well, we don't know what this is yet. I think the idea of negotiating with North Korea, it's got to make sense. At some level, really, the old model has failed. That is to say, the old model was back in 1994 when these initial accords were drafted and put into place. The point was to keep North Korea from advancing in its nuclear capabilities. That's not the case now. So what is the way forward? The best way forward would be sort of what the South Koreans are suggesting, which is some graduated process whereby they come to an agreement. You stop the increase in nuclear research and advancements, and then you try to whittle away at that stockpile, and maybe eventually in the future there's some sort of non-proliferation.
Does that particular end, are you seeing that possible result being helped by what the president is now saying publicly?
I mean, it's so hard. What's said publicly was such a shock to the system, it's hard to know how to manage it. I do think one thing worth thinking about, though, in this crazy world, is that when nuclear weapons were first created and deployed by the U.S. in the region, the thought was there would be massive proliferation by advanced states of nuclear weapons. The Non-Proliferation Treaty was signed in 1960, so that's a long time ago, right? We have seen there's only 9 states in the world that have nuclear weapons, North Korea being one of them. And it's been shockingly successful when you consider the potential advantages to a state of having weapons. So what that's shown us is that international law and international agreements can actually work, but we're trending towards a world where some of that success is deeply threatened.
So, does the president have a point when he says these kinds of exercises at this kind of level unnecessarily hostile and provocative, especially to a regime like North Korea?
Well, he's right in that North Korea doesn't like to see increased capacity of South Koreans working with the U.S. for all of that, what that means. Whether it seems strategically not particularly useful to give away that desire, which I'm sure is something North Korea wants, without getting something in return. Now, maybe there's some side back deal we don't know about, but what we do know is from the first Trump administration's efforts, that pretty useful goal really didn't work. So what is the path forward? Let's hope it's something better than what we've seen in the past.
All right. Daniel Rothenberg, again, a future security initiative. Really interesting stuff, and a lot goes every day. It's something else. Interesting scenario over there. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ted.
Tenderness, your understanding heart. I hurt for you each minute we're apart. I need my angel now. Miss you.
A lot of the plants that are still here, especially like the cacti, the saguaro is one that is really prominent to the people, to the O'odham community. We have a lot of respect for the saguaro itself, or the hashan as we call it. It also provides us with the fruit, and it also provides us with materials for our houses, our ramadas or watos. In the summertime when the fruit is ready to be harvested, it's what we call our new year. And it's to reflect on everything in the past year, but also to look forward into the coming year to what's coming up. And at this time, they would do certain ceremonies, whether in different communities or just within families. They would sing traditional songs to bring the rain. Because you live in the desert, we need the water, again, to survive.
A new book suggests that living longer and feeling younger is easier than we think. The book is titled Longevity Made Simple, and it promises to challenge everything we think we know about health, aging, and the future of medicine. Longevity Made Simple was written by Dr. Shad Marvasti along with former U.S. Surgeon General Richard Carmona. We spoke to Dr. Marvasti about the book. Good to see you again.
Great to see you again as well, Ted.
Yeah. Oh, so, all right. How simple can longevity be made? I mean, you're saying this is simple? Longevity sounds like an awfully complicated issue.
It sounds more complicated than it is. You know, the reality is you don't need to be a billionaire biohacker, have the greatest technology, and put down all these expenses to really get the most bang for your buck. And this really book is a culmination of nearly 20 years of my clinical experience in treating patients and really taking a whole person approach to health, where we look at the science of epigenetics, right? Most people are familiar with genetics, but epigenetics is above and beyond our genes. And what we're learning there is that our zip code is actually more important than our genetic code in determining health and longevity.
How does the zip code affect the genetic code?
So where we live, how active we are, how socially isolated we are, or how connected we are, what we eat, the stressors in our life, these social, behavioral, and lifestyle determinants actually turn our genes on or off for better or for worse. So you can think about the genes we inherit like hardware and these epigenetic inputs as basically upgrading or downgrading our software.
Interesting. All right. The 5 daily habits that you talk about in this book, the acronym is DRESS. You call it the DRESS code.
Yes.
DRESS. What do they stand for?
Diet, relationships, exercise, stress, and sleep. So these are the key epigenetic inputs. Diet is like the #1 risk factor for premature preventable disease. The standard American diet is nearly 70% processed food, or what I call frankenfoods. That is like a software downgrade. So it turns on genes that cause cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease. But if we switch to a whole food diet that's mostly plants and basically whole vegetables, whole fruits, healthy fats, then we turn on genes that protect us against cancer, that protect us against heart disease.
So real quickly, before you go on further, you're not just saying, don't eat this stuff, it's bad for you. You're saying, eat this stuff, it's good for you.
Absolutely. I'm telling you what the things that you eat, and I'm saying that your gene expression actually changes not in a matter of years, not even months, but we can actually change gene expression in a matter of weeks. In the same time that it takes for your taste buds to turn over, in 4 to 5 weeks, you can actually change genes and turn on the ones that improve health and longevity.
Okay, the R is relationships.
Yes, so critical, so underestimated. Big Harvard study looking at graduates over 50 years, and they found that the single best predictor of health and happiness later in life was not your cholesterol level, but it was actually whether you had meaningful, authentic relationships in your life. This could be a romantic relationship, or it could just be a close friendship, a space of vulnerability and trust, and that actually turns on genes that improve longevity.
Exercise, that we know this. Exercise is almost an elixir.
Any movement, right? We see in the blue zones where people live longer, any movement is actually very helpful. So it's not like you have to have an expensive gym membership. Just walking for 30, 45 minutes a day, just being active, that's really it.
And the 2 S's at the end, stress and sleep.
And stress is a double-edged sword. So short-term stress like a sauna or a cold plunge can actually help make your body more resistant to disease and healthy. But long-term chronic stress can actually increase chronic inflammation. So doing practices like yoga, tai chi, meditation, mindfulness-based stress reduction, these actually change brain structures in just 8 weeks and help your body cope with stress over the long term.
And as far as sleep is concerned,
it's about getting a consistent rhythm. It's about getting access to real sunlight early in the morning to reset your circadian rhythm, your internal clock. And basically having good sleep hygiene so that you're waking up and sleeping at the same time.
And good sleep hygiene, does that, I'm asking for a friend here.
Yeah.
Does good sleep hygiene mean waking up when animals wake you up or something in the middle of the night? Does that bother your sleep hygiene?
That doesn't necessarily. If you're getting really good REM sleep, then you're not going to get woken up by that.
Okay, but if you are woken up by that, then you got to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So basically, type 2 diabetes can be reversed.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
You can lose pounds, you can normalize blood pressure, all of these things you can do for free.
This
is for free.
Yeah, and the thing is that people think that, I have diabetes, I have heart disease, I have Alzheimer's in my family, therefore I'm fated to get it. The reality is our genes are not our destiny, and that we can actually control our path. And so in the book, we give practical tips on how to do this and how to add that into your daily life.
Well, I was going to ask about the mental aspect
Yes.
of where does willpower come into all this? Because all of these things, you need to get it done, and you can't just sit there and expect it to be done to you.
Well, I think you need guidance and you need support, which is where the fields of integrative medicine, lifestyle medicine, but what we're calling whole health now. So this approach where we're not just giving you a medication or surgery, but we're prescribing food as medicine, prescribing exercise as medicine. And then as you're making those changes and we're helping you along that path, you're actually de-prescribing medication. I'm taking people off of blood pressure medication as their blood pressure comes down. I'm taking patients off of diabetes medication as their blood sugar comes down, because they're making the connections with data using technology like continuous glucose monitors to see how your activity level, the foods you eat, affect your blood sugar numbers. So then real time, you can actually make those changes and get reinforced in them.
Dr. Shadmar Vasti, again, Longevity Made Simple. Congratulations on the book. Best of success to you. And this is really interesting stuff. Going to have to look it up. Going to have to figure it out.
Thank you very much, Ted.
Good to have you here. And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Because kids will always be more curious, Arizona PBS delivers